I think in our younger years, society says you can have it all. You can have the career, you can raise the kids, you can do all of this in a beautiful way. And so we're like doing it with a smile on our face, but not really a smile on our face. And when our hormones are doing what they're supposed to do, we can do all of that, and we can coach our kids, and we can do whatever and make it all day on just a cheese stick. And I think that once we hit perimenopause, some of that is like our bodies go, ma'am, you can't keep up this pace anymore. And then we find ourselves in burnout.
Welcome to Fated to Fabulous, the podcast for women who know that midlife is not the end. It's the beginning of something bold. I'm Kim Lovely, and I'm here with Vicki Kirby. We're here to talk to you about health, hormones, confidence, and joy. Midlife isn't about fading away. It's about stepping into your power and shining brighter than ever. Let's get into it.
Hi, ladies.
Hi, ladies.
Welcome. We're so happy to have you.
Yes.
We've picked some juicy, good topics, I feel like. And this one I definitely like. I wrote an article about mental load during the pandemic, and it really resonated with women. So I love the title of this one, The Quiet Burnout of Midlife Women, the Cost of Always Being the One Who Thinks Ahead. So Kim, what is mental load if somebody's listening and going, I don't know what you're talking about?
Yeah. So I'm going to wear my nutritionist hat on this one, right? Because that's how I understand it. So the mental load of meal, service, preparation, all the things is deciding what all the people in your home are going to eat, right? The mental, like the when are you going to shop for it? When are you going to cook it? All of that stuff is the mental load piece. Your kids' schedules, like who's got soccer, who's got whatever. Like, it's not the driving them to the events. It's the management, the coordination of all of that. Mm-hmm. To me, that feels like mental load. But like, I'm going to toss it back to you. What does mental load mean to you?
So like if you have a spouse that's like, I do the dishes. The mental load is the heaviest of all of the responsibilities in the home. It is literally being the mastermind behind everything. So it's the school vacation is coming up. Where are we going to go? Do we have childcare? The kids don't fit in their shoes anymore. It's teachers' week. We got to get something right. Do I feel like my daughter isn't getting along socially with her friends, and that's worrying me? And so I'm going to do something to arrange a play date. All of those pieces in every capacity, and it is so much more exhausting than a task.
Yes.
So much more exhausting. So that's where we end up with burnout.
I was just thinking about something. And sorry, honey, if this throws you under the bus. It does, kind of. When you need help and the person that you need help from tells you, well, just make me a list. Right?
Every woman watching this is going,
You know what I used to say? It's the same thing every day. Right? Like most families are pretty consistent with their life.
Yes.
There's no list needed. Just do it.
Right.
Like making the list is one more task
that you have to do.
And I know that it causes problems, right? Because I know for a fact that I did more than I needed to because I was pig-headed or bullish about not making the list, because that would tick me off, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that it's funny how that one, like, as soon as I said it, like, right, just give me a list.
I swear to God, every person listening is like, because, and here's the why, and this is not to like do men versus women and, men are bad or any of those things. It largely falls on women. And I'll give an example. So I am in charge of my mom. I'm her POA and power of attorney. And so even though she's getting physical care somewhere else, there are so many things that come up that I am responsible for. So my husband will say, if I'm in a place where I'm like, ooh, I'm not in a good space, and he'll say, what can I do? And it's like, yes, I can tell you one task to do, and I appreciate that you would do that for me, but it doesn't ease the burden of being the one ultimately responsible, right? So I think that is what it's about. That's where burnout comes in. When we were in the pandemic, we're all home. I don't know how we survived. And my husband was like, I'm going to go to the store and get us all our groceries and wear my mask and whatever. And I was like, that's great. First, I was very afraid because I figured he would get like all Chef Boyardee ravioli and,
Cocoa Puffs.
unhealthy.
Which I know he does eat Cocoa Puffs.
He does.
Sorry, Matt.
But he really did a great job and did, right. But then at one point during the pandemic, he came up to me and he said, all right, I need the grocery list. And I just started crying because I love that he goes to the grocery store, but I have to think about what we're eating. And so now I think like, if you fast forward, like to give a solution, one of the things that I'll do is if he says, I need the grocery list because he still goes to the grocery store, I will write on there whatever you're planning on for Saturday night. Because then
love that.
I'm not picking it. I'm not thinking about what the ingredients are. None of it. That is on. And that is way more helpful for me than just the act of going to the grocery store.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll still call me like 8 times when he's there, but that's okay. Like we're getting there. We're doing baby
My
steps.
funny grocery store. So Michael and I have always shopped together.
I know,
since
you're so
we
cute.
always
I
shop.
love that you
We
do
always have. And we had one of those philosophical conversations one time, and I said to him, if I were gone, what would you miss most? And it kind of shocked me. He goes, food shopping. And I was like, really? Like, that's what you would miss most? And he said, yeah. Yeah, that is like part of our routine. He holds the cart wherever and I go and get the food.
Sure.
And on occasion, if he's traveling and I have to go on my own to the grocery store, do you know what happens? I lose the cart. I have no idea where I put it.
Because he always is the one pushing it. I was
have
going to say you
no-
only bought cottage cheese.
I do buy a lot of cottage cheese. No, I can't find the cart because that's not my job.
So this is because we take care of women. We see this
Yes.
all the time, and how it shows up is burnout.
Yes.
So these are, and I think like there's women, and we can tie hormones in here too. I think in our younger years, again, society says you can have it all. You can have the career, you can raise the kids, you can do all of this in a beautiful way. And so we're like doing it with a smile on our face, but not really a smile on our face. And when our hormones are doing what they're supposed to do, we can do all of that, and we can coach our kids, and we can do whatever and make it all day on just a cheese stick. And I think that once we hit perimenopause, some of that is like our bodies go, ma'am, you can't keep up this pace anymore. And then we find ourselves in burnout. And what comes is reflection and resentment. And I see that all the time.
Yep.
Because it's like when you don't feel it and you don't have the energy to do it, all of a sudden you're like, why the hell am I the only one doing all this? You know what I mean? And I always encourage, like, we have to take ownership 100% that we help to design and cultivate
Yes.
those systems and those patterns
Yes.
in your life, right?
Yes.
So think about for you, Kim, you were talking about, how you would just do it instead of make the list.
Yes.
Right? So part of that too, and that's not just like, I'm mad at you because you're asking me to make a list. Part of that is like, if I don't do this, it's not going to get done. Or it's not going to get done
The way I want it to.
the way I want it. Right.
And then you can be, that opens up a whole can of worms too, right? What's wrong with it being done the way you want? What's wrong with that?
Well, that's
Like,
there is like,
what's wrong with
if
that?
like, do I want my husband to pick out the decor for a new room? No. Right? Am I okay with him cleaning the toilet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it really
Yes.
comes down to picking, if you are going to give your partner, say, listen, I'm underwater, open communication, right? Because you've designed this and you've been part of the dance. I realize I am part of the problem, but I'm in burnout and I need your help. You need to pick something that isn't going to drive you bananas if it's not done to your expectations.
Yeah.
And you need to actually give it
And let it go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So part of that is going to take you doing a little self-reflection too. And we always talk about where old stuff comes from. And maybe you were the type of like, you were parentified as a kid. You always had to be,
The
type
one doing
A
it all.
and doing it all, and the oldest daughter and all the pieces. But you can unpack that and say, all right, I actually am in a relationship where this person's like, hey, I want to help you, right? It is safe to let some things go because we don't have the luxury of burning ourselves into the ground in midlife, especially.
So let's talk a little bit about what burnout might look like, right? So I know my symptom of burnout, I used to notice it when I was working for, not in my own business, when I used to work for somebody else. I would experience burnout as lack of empathy.
Oh, wow.
So, someone might say to me, oh, I heard this tragic thing. This, poor woman has breast cancer and she's got 3 little kids. And if my brain went to crickets, didn't go to the place of, oh, that's painful. I hate hear. I'm so sorry to hear that. If my brain literally doesn't offer that kindness, empathy, sympathy, I know I'm in burnout.
Yeah.
And I used to be really good about sort of stopping and saying, okay, you need a break. Like if you can't muster the kindness and empathy, then that means, you're empty and you need to do something about it. So do you have a symptom that, because I think you told me one time,
Freeze. Freeze.
Yeah. Tell us what that looks like.
I see this in a ton of women. What I see clinically in burnout when I see women is fatigue, like just apathy, fatigue. It will show up like depression, tearfulness.
Yes.
It'll impact sleep.
Yep.
They won't be enjoying things that they normally would.
Yeah.
They're not making choices that they normally would. Maybe you're not showing up at the gym. Maybe you are not making food choices that you know help your body to feel good.
Yep.
You're not socializing. You don't want to respond to the text. You are in freeze. So freeze is really when you're like, okay, I would be perfectly happy in my bathrobe, in my bed, doom scrolling through social media.
I like what the kids call it, bed rotting.
Bed rotting. I love it.
Yeah, it's a funny word, right? Yeah.
But yeah, that's a lot of times what we see with burnout. And it's not healthy and it's not a good space to be in.
I saw it this week. I had a client this week who is in burnout and there was a flatness.
Yes.
Like I call it a flat affect.
Yeah.
It's not a scowl. It's not a smile. It's just flat.
Yeah.
Like there's no emotion that you can see on the face. And interesting, I asked the question, what job is there that vacation is not necessary? None. But I think some women who, make the choice to be a stay-at-home mom, and God bless you for doing that, I think they have a hard time realizing that that is a job that still needs a vacation.
Yeah.
So at the end of the visit, what we had I got a promise out of her was like, please explore the possibility of having a vacation from your job. Because just because you're not earning an income doesn't mean you don't have a job.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not a 9 to 5. It's not like someone goes to their office and comes home. Like it is a 24/7 job. And I think sometimes women in those positions don't feel like they earned or deserve a vacation.
All the time. And not only a vacation, just self-care.
Yeah.
Like that, I see stay-at-home moms all the time in my practice. So they're like, well, my husband gets home and he's had a hard day. I'm like, girl, you're on 24/7.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Did he get a lunch? Did he sit with his buddies at lunch? Did he get to go for, like, you need a minute away from this house and your children. And all the things.
I compared it to her because I was laughing about when I had my colonoscopy last week, that these people, as they're getting ready and stuff, they were joking with each other when someone was crabby or whatever. And I said, hey, no crabby people working on this princess, right? Like I am a princess. I need everybody with their like A game, right? So I was being funny. But I brought it back to this client and said, if you were going in for surgery and your anesthesiologist had not had a vacation in 2 years, how would you feel about that?
Do you want that person taking care of you?
No.
Right.
So your children deserve you to actually have a vacation because then you have a chance of showing up for them as a rested, non-burned out person, right?
Absolutely.
So
where do we go? Like, so what do we tell women to do who come in, they're in burnout? I think sometimes for me, it's actually explaining what mental load is and seeing like the light bulbs go off and explaining to them just how incredibly exhausting that is
Yep.
and why it's so important that they figure out systems within their home that they can share some of that burden.
Yeah. I think just recognizing
Yeah.
that it is almost like it's a little bit of an illness that needs their attention. Like their body is trying to tell them something.
Yes.
And it's a really good idea to pay attention. So what might that look like? Unloading some of the burden. If you
Having a conversation, starting with that.
with your person.
And all your people.
Yeah.
You know,
The
I
kids
have grown
too.
kids. I have gotten really good at being able to say, I love you. I am in overwhelm right now with all of the pieces of my life that I'm trying to float. I'm not going to be I'm not going to show up at 100%. I can't. I only have about 20% to give.
Yep.
And to my husband, I need help. And again, it might be you own dinner in its entirety. I don't want to think about it. But getting good at having the conversations and exploring what it can look like. And again, being willing to put down your own stuff and your own ego and ask for help.
Yeah, exactly. So the Nova Scotia story.
Yes.
So that's
I love
it's
this.
a funny one. So my husband and I grew up in Nova Scotia. And so for the last 30 years, we've taken the adventure every summer and driven to Nova Scotia in various stages of the kids' life. And for probably a decade of that, my husband would work right up until the last minute. And I would pack everybody up, pack all the snacks, pack the car, do all the things. And basically we would go down the driveway when he shut his computer off. And I found that I was sort of getting a little bit more resentful and crabby about it. I could just, because we'd end up in the car and the kids, whatever. I can't turn around because it makes me nauseous. And so it's just not a great way to start a vacation. I'd be really crappy by the time we got there. So I started doing a day of vacation at home for me before we went away, so that I actually started vacation alone. The kids might still have school.
Yeah.
It was smart. And then I realized, why am I packing the car
Everything.
when everybody else is just doing their thing? And, and to my husband, he needs to get his shit together so he can actually pack the car too. So I just decided I was not going to do anything until somebody showed some interest in packing. And the kids, I was sitting outside and the kids came up and said, "Are we going to Nova Scotia?" And I'm like, "Yeah, as soon as anybody else starts to pack." And that was a game changer for me, like huge change. And I don't know why I didn't do it years before that. But
Because you're trying to do it all. Like, that's what we did, right? I remember one year, this is when the kids were little, and we were going away, and I had to think about, I had two little kids. So you know how much planning goes into that. Because
stuff.
you need a car seat, and you need this, and you need their special snacks, and I had about all things. Do you know what I left at home?
your suitcase.
My suitcase.
Yeah.
And I had to go to Rennie's in Maine, or Remy's, I don't remember what it's called, in Maine. So I ended up with, underwear size like triple X and like a bathing suit that didn't fit. Anyway, but this is the stuff that happens,
That's so funny.
It was just really like reflective of like what was going on in my life at the time.
You were
doing.
Yeah, you
On
were
the
not
back
taking care
burner.
of
I
you.
was
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
back burner
Including
for
your
sure.
clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so one of the things that you and I talked about the other day too, for tips about like how to navigate this, sit with the discomfort. So if you are like, but someone left a dish in the sink and I have to do it because it's going to absolutely drive me crazy, practice sitting in the discomfort. Because if you literally go around and clean up after everybody and pick up everything, like no one else is seeing that discomfort. And I do think that that's important. There was a great commercial on TV that I saw recently, and this guy had like a whole bunch of mess out, and his girlfriend's like annoyed and looking at him, and he goes, "No, don't worry about it. Just leave it." He's like, "You won't believe it." He's like, "If you just leave it, it'll go away." He's like magic. I left my laundry out the other day, and it ended up folded. Anyway, it was funny.
Oh,
but
that's
it's
so
funny. But not funny.
I'm afraid that may happen. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know. And I think we had talked about this the other day too. Michelle Obama. There was an interview with Michelle Obama, and she was talking about her husband and how he didn't understand why she was always stressed out and whatnot. And so one Saturday, he followed her around the entire day and wrote down everything that she did.
I love it.
And it made him step up as a husband completely. So maybe there's some of that. So they understand like that, what did you do all day? Oh my gosh, follow me and you will see.
Well, I love the fact that we talk about how important it is that you have your Wednesdays to take care of the mom stuff and right. And I know that it's your busiest day. You're not clinically in the office busy, but you're busy. And your spouse is like, well, that's your day off.
Oh, he no longer says, what are you doing on your day off? Because he knows like that's dangerous territory, boy. I'm not sitting around eating bonbons, I promise you. Yeah.
Okay. So on the, what would be our last piece of advice as far as burnout? I think going back to knowing that we have a finite amount of energy too, right? And knowing that we can get ourselves into trouble if we're using up all of our rocks and not saving any.
Absolutely.
Right?
The
So when
rock
something
analogy
bad happens,
is always perfect.
Yep.
I use a cup analogy sometimes with women. I had somebody that's like, my nervous system is I'm always anxious and I'm always upset and things are always going wrong. And I'm like, listen, if your responsibilities are what's in the cup, if you're at 50, 60%, you have room when the inevitable life thing happens to add. But if you're at 95% all the time, it just takes one inconvenience and you are overflowing. Mm-hmm. So I think like being mindful of where am I at? What do I have room for? And communicating that with the people around you. Yeah. Yep. We only have finite energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So ladies, if you're finding yourself in resentment, it's not a good place. If you're finding yourself in burnout, also not a good place. You can get out of it. You're going to have some conversations. You're going to have to take some ownership of what's going on with you. But you deserve to feel amazing and wonderful in this life.
Yeah. And there's help.
Yeah.
Ask for it.
Yeah.
Take care, ladies. See you soon. Thanks for spending time with Vicki and I today on Fated to Fabulous, where midlife is just the beginning of your boldest chapter yet. If you got something out of today's episode, we'd love it if you'd share it with a friend and leave a review. Hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're looking for more support, inspiration, or sisterhood, come join us at fatedtofabulous.biz, because you were never meant to do midlife alone. Until next time, stay fabulous.